Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dottie. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming on here. And if you're not, welcome back. Welcome to a new series called Things I Wish I Knew About Marriage. And essentially, I'm bringing together some of my amazing aunties to come and talk about their experiences, their journey to marriage, things they wish they knew beforehand, things they wish people told them about marriage, their expectations versus reality. So yes, stay tuned, make sure you like, share, comment, and yes, I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, my name's Jobi. Everyone calls me Jobi, and I'm a contractor. I was previously married for about 4 years.
My name is Aderonke Odejide. I've been married for over 10 years, together with my manses for 15 years.
Friendship, dependability, and love.
Companionship, because you're going to get old, so you need a companion. Partnership, which is a different word to companionship. And yeah, love, I'd say.
So on the topic of things you wish you knew before you got married, let's dive into all things finances, culture, in-laws. Let's get into the deep stuff. So yeah, do you just want to share some of the things that you wish you knew?
Whilst I remember, after I decided I was going to marry this man, my husband, the man I live with, I remember his mom is lovely. I love her. I met her for the first time in real life properly this year. And I remember she called me. I think my husband had told her, oh, I found the girl I want to marry, blah, blah, blah. And then she said she wanted to speak to me about something really important. I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, why? Anyway, whatever. So I said, yeah, sure. And then she called her. She goes, I should make sure I have time, blah, blah, blah. So I called her. I bought credits and I called her. And then she started by saying, so what did she say? She said, if you're going to marry my son, there are certain things you have to do as I say. And you have to. So she's talking. And I didn't let her finish. I waited maybe 3 minutes. She was still talking about all these things I have to do. And, and she kept, prefacing it with, if you want to marry my son, when you marry my son, kiniko. I said, okay. So I said,
Kiniko means
things,
this and that, yeah.
etc. So and I said, okay, sorry, mommy, sorry to interrupt you, ma. When you put sorry and ma, you've done the cultural, I said, no offense, ma. And you're about to offend somebody. I said, no offense, ma, but I'm happy with all the advice you're giving me. But I have not decided if I want to marry your son. So there's no need for you to even give all this advice. Maybe if I decide, and I kept emphasizing decide, if I decide I want to marry your son, the marriage is between me and him. No offense, mommy, I'll take your advice, but you cannot tell me what to do in my marriage, because my marriage is between me and my husband. And I said again, I said, that's if I decide that I want to marry your son. So she now said, I said, She now said, in that case, I don't really have anything else to add. I said, okay, mommy, have a good evening, ma. I put the phone down. She calls me 2 days later, like calling me. So I picked up because normally she'd call her back. So I was like, mommy, is everything okay? She goes, yes. She's wondering why my husband, then boyfriend, has not called her to have a go at her for what she said to me. And I said, why? She goes, have you not told him? I said, no. Wow. Why should I tell him? She goes, I thought you'd have told him by now. I said, no, mommy, let me tell you something. I was my own woman before I met your son. I am still my own woman. I can fight my own battles. I don't need your son to come and save me or fight my battles. So what happens between me and you is between me and you. It's got nothing to do with him. She went, I went, And she went, I like you. And since that day, we've been in love. And since then, if mommy wants to give me advice, she'll literally go, Aderonke, don't be angry. But I said, Mommy, like when she came, I said, Mommy, don't let me get angry. Stop starting with don't be angry. Just give me the advice. It's normally something to do with the kids or some prayer points or something. But yeah, so when it comes to in-laws, that's my one and only. I told her that story when she came this year. You know, she couldn't remember.
Most of the times they won't remember.
She's like, she said, I'm sorry. She kept, I said, Mommy, why you apologize? I said, no, that was, we hashed it out then, and that was it. There was no, she said from that moment she knew who I was, I knew who she was, and we kind of kept it going. So that's my only in-law story. Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, when my ex and I got together, it seemed a bit contentious because he's coming from a Muslim family. I didn't see him studying the Quran or anything like that. And so it was almost like his mom was against us. And he did this whole, now I think about it, it's just theatrics. He did this whole, no, if I can't be with her, I won't be with anybody.
Oh, God.
So this again, I'm looking back at the manipulation, how they got me really involved in this. And I remember thinking, he stood his ground, and I was so happy to feel like there's a man now, he's made his decision, he's picking me against everything else. And, obviously as a woman, that's going to make you feel good that you've got a man that will stand by his own decision and stand by you. My sisters. So, moving forward, because he set back, she now seemed to be more receptive. And I remember there was a time we were going to do his spousal visa. For those of you that don't know, he was on a student visa. Yeah. And so for him to remain in the UK, I put him under myself, being as somebody that resides here. So we went to Croydon. I wanted to do a face-to-face applications so that wouldn't delay anything. Yeah. And I remember saying to him, if I have to go back to Nigeria, even though I'd never lived there, by the way, if I have to go to Nigeria because they didn't give him residency, then I'll follow him. And I remember him crying. Again, part of the manipulation.
What, crying out of happiness?
Crying, I think maybe because he thought, I don't know. Looking back now, I'm thinking he was crying because he knew deep down I'm not genuine about this girl.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, because he was,
to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And I'm just using her to get what I need to
get. Yeah. Okay.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So he had a heart. He cried.
He cried for what, though?
Yeah, guilt. Guilt.
I don't even know if it's guilt. But anyway, so his mom now prayed. I felt really blessed. Like, she prayed, everything, went well and whatever. It was almost as if saying I do opened up a can of worms, beast. It got to a point she reported me to a family member. At this time, my husband wasn't working. I was a breadwinner as of then. Because he was doing menial jobs, but then he had practiced medicine in Nigeria, but he wasn't practicing medicine here, and that was the path I was trying to get him on. Yeah. Networking and everything like that. He was failing his PLAB, blah blah blah. And so I took on the financial responsibility because he was failing exams, trying to do a menial job working in a factory. Yeah. And the Holy Spirit ministered to my mom and me at the same time. And so we said, look, I'm going to be the one to cover the finances, everything. In fact, he moved into my mom's house with me. Wow. My mom wasn't working. My mom wasn't working or living in the UK at that time. She vacated her room. Yeah. So that we would have space because her room was the biggest room in that house. So just to show you I'm not coming from the typical Nigerian background, he married me but lived with me in my mother's house, in my mother's room. So just to kind of show you the love that my family had for him. Yeah. He did not pay towards my mom's mortgage. She told us save until you guys can get your own mortgage. Yeah. That was my mom's mindset. So anyway, back to his mom. She reported me to a family member. And at that time, I just got a new job. I got a new job the day I got married to him, funny enough.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know I was entering another wahala, which is problem. And so financing everything, trying to keep everything together, there was times I was just left with £24 in my account. So when I was summoned by my auntie to have this conversation and to hear what my mother-in-law had said about me, saying that I think she's afraid that I would not give her access to see her son in her son's house.
Which house?
My mother's house.
But that's not his house.
See, this is the thing. She was projecting because she had no control over me. And some Nigerian mothers want to know that they can, if they can't control their son,
they can control the wife. Yeah.
And I had my own mind, So she was saying a lot of things and I broke down crying. Because I couldn't tell anybody I only had £24 in my account. I'm just being a wife. Yeah. I'm moving in silence. And that's that. But for her to look at all my efforts as if I'm trying to emasculate my husband was heart-wrenching.
And I think sometimes the husbands don't tell their moms the truth.
no, my ex deliberately painted a narrative.
Yeah.
And I remember he said, again, women, listen more than you speak. There was a time I was in the sitting room, he came from the bedroom here, and he said to me, I know if we weren't married, you would have left.
What? Why did he say that?
Because he
knew what he was doing.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I
Okay.
get it now.
Okay.
Wow.
And one of the issues he also had with me was I wanted him, I didn't need him. Can you see? I'm dealing with madness here. Because for some men, they don't want a woman to be a liability. My sleeves were rolled up. I was working. I was doing whatever. You know. And again, forgive me. And we've had this conversation. Now in my new state, I don't date broke guys. My ex-husband was broke. Do you get what I'm trying to say? A fool at 40 is a fool forever. I'm nearly 40, so you need to have something. If you're saying you want a wife, you want a family, I can't deal with potential anymore. Yeah, you've got to have something in hand. Yeah, what I do have something in hand. I am the benchmark for me. Yeah. If I am his rib, he needs to reflect me. I'm not broke. I live a very good life. Amen. I travel. That's right. Drive. If you don't drive, you've got no business talking to me.
I couldn't even date. I didn't date anyone that didn't drive. I'm sorry.
I trained him how to drive. I trained him how to ride a bike.
No.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I didn't date people that didn't drive, and I didn't date people that lived in South London because I lived in North London. Okay, let's get it back. No.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
I can't be trekking up and down. Why?
I don't mind the distance, but at least if there was, it had to be mutual. I need to know that as much as I can get to you, you can get to me. Yeah. Into the finance aspect of stuff as well. I gave him access to everything. So, as we're going into the financial aspect of marriage, I thought, as you see me naked, I'm naked with everything in my life. You're my man, you're my husband. So he would use my credit card for things like washing the car, buy mundane stuff. He would make financial decisions without consulting me, i.e. getting a car on finance that originally well, first of all, I bought him his first car when he did that.
You were doing sugar mommy.
No, I was being a wife because...
No. That's not being a wife. No. That's what you thought being a wife was.
Well, at that time, look, you see, in our culture, and I'm, like I said, from Nigerian background, if he did not succeed, they would say it's his wife. There is an expectation when, I live here. This is my natural environment. If I didn't bolster him to fulfill his potential of his career, they would have blamed me that I've pinned him down or turned him to woman rapper.
True.
Do you know why I'm laughing?
This battle.
Okay, we have 2 cars in our house, right? The main car, the family car, is registered in my name, and then there's a van that he uses for his business or whatever. So a ticket arrived the other day from the tickets people. They said it was doing 34 in the 30, right? So the form came, and the form said either you go to court and they give you 6 points or whatever, or you go to the speed awareness course, Kinikon. And then on the back of the form, it said, if it was not you driving, write the name. Kia. I wrote his name down. I even made sure I on my phone. I checked Google Maps. I did not go anywhere. That's right, on my phone. I had not been anywhere that particular day. Filled out the form. I went to his office. I said, yeah, so there's... He goes, couldn't you take the rap? I mean, me. Take the rap for who? I'm allergic to crime. I cannot. But finances, which is what I want to talk about, is keep your money. Women, have your own money. Doctor, I've said this to you before. Have your own money. Have your own money. And then she said, money.
Don't give
men money. Yes, I am shouting. Is this thing on? Don't give men money.
She knows my trauma.
Have your own money. Yeah? When you get married, you can have a joint account. I've been married 10 years this year, and we opened our first joint account, I think 2 years ago. And I'll tell you why. Because I was tired of being the PA of the house, doing all the admin. So I'm like, okay, let's say I decide to go and cross the road stupidly, and I go and knock down, and I can't talk. How is it? He doesn't know the password for the gas bill. He doesn't know this. I thought, you know what? If I said no, at the time I was not doing all the PAing and adminning of the house.
I gave him access.
No. So I said, okay. So I set up a joint account, put all the bills there, and then I set up a family email address, put everything there. So you can't tell me you don't know the password to this, that, the other, if anything happened. Do you get? So that's what I did. Because number one, I was actually just tired of doing admin. But in terms of finances, I have my money, he has his money. I'm an accountant by trade. So there's a spreadsheet. Like I've just given him a spreadsheet for the next 6 months of the year.
Sorry, something just came to my mind.
What happened?
No, I just remembered. So, being that your husband is Nigerian, is he quite open with finances?
No, I
That
always
was
say,
something that
I
came
always
to
say
top.
to him.
So would that be your advice to people
I
that are
always
getting
say
married?
to him that he's got some secret account somewhere with millions in it.
What would you advise couples that are entering marriage based on your experiences? What would your advice
have
be
to know your
in terms of
financial
openness?
status. You
100%.
have to
Okay.
know.
Even now I'm dating, I do ask people.
They
about their
don't
credit
need.
score.
You don't. Thank you. I was going to say, ask for
It's
their
a real
credit
thing, 'cause
file.
It lets you know. For me,
Yes.
it lets me know whether you're.
Let them
manager of
see.
money.
Let them see. It's not even that. It's the same way how you need to know someone's status if they've got HIV or not. I feel like it's very important you know someone's financial status. That's right. It's very important you know their status. Like, imagine you get married, because once you get married, I'm sure in this country, I've not looked it up. What your debt is my debt or whatever. I'm sorry, I am not.
There's issues, and it can be. It's called
Uh-huh.
common property anyway. So, you acquire
So
it,
I need to know you, and they don't have to tell you how much they earn, but just give me your credit report. You can order it. It's $14.99.
You don't even need that. It's free.
No,
You can go and experience
for the detail one.
Oh, for the detail.
For the
yes.
detail one
Yes.
ahead,
But if you wanna
so
get
that
a
you know
score-
exactly where you stand. Don't go into any sort of permanent relationship, which is what I call a marriage, thinking like
Well,
Disney.
Is marriage really permanent?
You know what I mean?
No,
It's not. It's not. It's not. If Sean Paul called me
but with
today,
the
I'm out.
intention
Yes.
of
If
of
Sean
being
Paul
permanent,
said,
then
you know, Sean Paul, hi, then you know.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely doing a financial check and background.
Absolutely, know your status.
And not even that, just observe their spending habits.
No. I don't think that's fair. Because again, like I said, I have a spreadsheet. We know how much we need for the household stuff.
Before we get married.
And now,
you're not doing spreadsheet as a girlfriend.
I did.
Wow.
Wow.
Then that's.
I've always had a spreadsheet.
No, but in
not
your
for both of
relationship
you.
with you and your husband, were you doing spreadsheets as part of your dating process in regards to your finance?
When he was coming here, yes, because he had to move over here.
I think that's.
But I knew, but no. But we'd had a conversation, and I knew his exact status at the time. He was very poor. He couldn't be poorer. So I knew, and he didn't. I didn't. And there was a situation that happened 3 months into. Not by.
He wasn't forthcoming.
Thank you.
Right.
So a situation.
Lied by omission.
No.
And you caught him out in some element. It just wasn't consistent. There was lack of consistency with something.
No, something major happened 3 months into our relationship, where I was like, okay, because I basically we dated for 3 months. Then I went over to South Africa to see, okay, do I actually find you attractive? Blah, blah, blah. And then I came back, and this incident happened like the week after. I don't want it to sound extreme, but it was a life or death situation for him. And if he didn't tell me about it, that was the end. So he had to tell me about it, but not because he just had to tell me about it. So in that moment, and he gave me an out. He said, we're so new in this. If you can't deal with this, or this is too much for you, I'm happy for us to end it now.
Which is great. I mean, kudos to him for being a great guy. But
one thing, I think it's because I've known him for such a long time. I've always known him as someone with integrity. Like, it doesn't matter the kind of shame that's going to come with it. He stands in his truth. Like, okay, if I give him nothing, I'll give him that. His integrity is faultless. And I hope he watches this and sees this, because I'm not going to ever say this to his face. Yeah. You asked me a question a while ago about how do you know if it's the one? And I said, you know if it's the one when you have complete peace of mind. To a level that you're happy with. What?
So I had complete peace when I, prayed and everything else, and voila.
I still have peace now.
No, but I'm saying it's not just by peace alone.
No. That's how I knew. Oh yeah, did I not mention 70% before? And then there's a 70%.
But I had peace, and it still went to pieces.
And that's fine. It happens.
Wow.
It happens.
You had peace,
Yeah.
but it's still. Sorry,
Went
you
to
had
pieces.
peace, but it's still.
That's a
went
good
to
one. That's a
pieces.
good one. That's a good one.
That's serious.
I still have
But
peace, so which is good.
Guess what? Out of the pieces, I've rebuilt myself as a mosaic.
Phoenix from the ashes.
Nice.
No, I am a mosaic. I'm
nice.
broken beauty.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people are still attracted to me, even in the brokenness.
That's
Period.
right. Fine girl.
I'm not worried for nothing. So,
Fine girl like you.
Thank you, guys. You guys are really great to me. But no, literally, I think integrity, bringing it to what we were trying to talk about, integrity, being transparent financially.
Be transparent. Ask for that credit file, y'all.
As you guys are starting a family together, you're coming together as one.
Yeah.
Sometimes your woman is stronger at you at managing finances. Please, men, be humble. It's not to control you. Yes, we know that there's some women that want to use that to control you, but there's some really good women that if they get your finances together, the money that you will make in your sleep, you'll be blessing that woman for the rest of your life.
Wow.
There's some men that know that they are not good with money. That they, like my dad. Before my dad left, my dad gave his full paycheck to my mum, and my mum would give him an allowance out of that.
That because he wasn't very good with money?
He knew he wasn't good with money.
Okay.
My mum was a good man, and she still is a fantastic
So being
manager.
wise with your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, be wise. Yeah.
Okay.
Be very
Know your
wise.
strengths and your
Yeah.
weaknesses, and that's where one hand washes the other. Where I am weak, you're supposed to be my
Exactly.
strength. Where he is weak, I'm supposed to be his strength. We are coming together as one. I am not your enemy. The problem that I even experienced was it felt like I was in competition. I can't compete with a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But he was insecure about me with other things. And it takes hindsight to understand.
But the other thing also is, if you're naturally financially independent, like I was for a long time, it takes a lot to ask a man for money. For me, it takes a lot for me to ask a man for money. I almost want to say I'll consider go and stand outside on the road and show one leg than ask a man for money. Do you know what I mean? But recently, I had to talk myself out of ostrich mode, which is what I was in, and because I've just went back to work after maternity leave. I am broke, like broken. So I had to tell him, so Oga, you have to pay more than half for the house something because I don't have money. And for me to say that, it took me 2 weeks of talking to myself, like, come on, it's your husband. Stop acting like you're talking to a man. But to me, I was asking a man for money, and it made me feel somehow like, and in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, does that mean I have to put out more?
You're not resting in your femininity.
What does that even mean?
You're not relaxed. That's why you still feel on edge that you
No, because growing up, I saw how my dad used money to manipulate my mom.
Okay, so that's another point then, dealing with traumas before you get married. No, is that would be...
You have to own up to all the trauma.
But sometimes you like, I didn't know.
Not okay, as much as you can up until that stage.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong in seeking counselling.
Yeah.
And if you have to even go on medication, there's nothing wrong with that.
Get counselling separately before you get counselling as the couple. Yeah. Get to know thyself first.
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Suppress.
Don't lie. Don't try to impress anybody.
In my marriage, and that contributed to my mental health.
There's no blueprint for the perfect marriage or relationship. You literally live each day as it comes. So,
and perfection is not real. You will never be the perfect wife. You will never meet the perfect husband. Acceptance is the biggest part. Acceptance.
70-30. 70-30.
Accept each other.
Obviously, I'm 100% perfect, but him 70%. So.
Right. Really briefly, I wanted to touch on what you spoke about in terms of in your marriage, you suppressed a lot and it affected your mental health. What's your advice to people that are entering marriages or are in marriages now in terms of dealing with their personal, so like things that you're struggling with but you're suppressing, or things that are affecting you?
I tried to create a safe space in my marriage for that very reason. But when you're dealing with someone that is passive aggressive or knows how to manipulate you because you're not even aware of yourself and your strengths and everything else, it can have its toll. Your partner needs to feel safe at any given point in time to have a conversation with you. The same way you want your children to also feel safe before they run out and do certain things. I think half the reasons why some marriages crash, relationships break down, is because it lacks safety. It lacks no judgment zone.
Yeah.
And I tried to have that in my marriage, whereby we go away for the weekend and we do appraisals. The same way we do for work. Because we're two different people coming from two different walks of life and trying to make this thing work. So I would ask him, what are the pros of being your wife and what are the cons? He never adhered to it. It took, again, outside influence to tell him, oh, try this, try that. I'm like, why is it when your wife is giving you advice, you don't listen? But when somebody from the outside...
Yeah. That's on my list that I showed you. That's on my list. That's ongoing.
But I suppressed because I was trying to make my marriage work, and I suppressed because I was tiptoeing around his ego. And if you've got to do that as a wife, there's a problem. Equally, husbands, if you've got to tiptoe around your woman,
that's yeah.
You're not being true. You're not walking in truth.
What Joy said about making a partner feel safe is very important, because I tend to not even use words. I just use my facial expressions. And if we're in a public place, my husband can tell if I'm not okay just from looking at my face. And he knows to remove me from the room for 5 minutes or whatever. He just knows from looking at me. And it's taking time of spending time with that person to know if they're okay, if they're not. Like, if a situation happens and they tell him back home, like, oh, this happened, he knows me enough to go and be like, nah, that's not my wife. Or to be like, okay, that does, you know what I mean? Like, you have to know each other that well. But also, I'm not ashamed to say I've had a mental breakdown before. I had it after I had my son, 2 years after I had him. And it was because there was a lot of, I don't know who asked me, but for some reason I put myself on this pressure thing of I have to do all these things to be the perfect, I don't even know what.
I think the culture plays a
No, me, when did I send culture?
For me,
but for me, do you know what my problem was? No. My problem was
woman,
social media.
And that too.
Them Mitches made it look easy. Like, okay, look at, so I'm comparing myself to people I don't even know. I'm comparing my whole existence to someone's one highlight reel.
For me, I was fighting not to repeat what my mother had gone through. And I think that's why I overcompensated, because I wanted
There's probably an element of that in mine as well.
Like, if you're coming from a broken home,
yeah,
be mindful that you could be overcompensating and you're dealing with a toxic person because you're trying to prove a point, maybe to yourself, maybe to your family. We have this thing of breaking generational curses.
I think I was going under the illusion of strong black woman, whatever that is.
Again,
and that and that thing of and it's the only reason I'm starting to unlearn it, that you don't have to suffer, you don't have to work, you don't have to suffer for something to be good. Do you understand? You don't, like, how you see some people that their life is just good and you're like, wait, how are you doing it? Because somehow you feel like you have to work hard, you have to suffer, you have to fight before you can get to something. Like, how it's not love if you're not fighting or something.
This is when I was in seasons of peace in my life. This is outside of marriage. It would be uncomfortable that I'd be like, this season of peace
is too good. Why has something not gone wrong? Yeah, you're waiting. And then you subscribe to that thing of bad things happen in threes. So it's like, no, it's,
therapy is very, very...
I'm in therapy now. I've been in therapy for, 3 years now?
I've been on and off counselling. I like to talk, as you guys can probably tell. But I also had to go through antidepressants. I was on sleep medication. Because my divorce, I was fighting the judgment of self. What I was trying to do was protect myself because I no longer trusted the world. Because I never expected that situation to happen to me. So I isolated myself because it's like...
You're the second person I've FBI'd and found that didn't want to be found.
She actually dug my workplace out.
Because I remember you mentioned you work in Potter's Bar and you were a civil servant. Those are the two things I had, and your name. That's it. I found you one afternoon though.
Yeah. Thank you for finding me.
That's all right.
But yeah, therapy,
counseling, talking. And also, before you get married, or while you're married or newly married or whatever, your husband, your spouse, whatever, they are one of your best friends. They can't carry everything. Find somebody you can talk to that you trust. That outside of family.
All the negative
if you've got the money, that's where your monthly therapy will come in, or counseling. Someone you can talk to and offload, that won't judge you, and are good listeners, and they don't have to give you. Sometimes just talk to people. I don't need your advice. I just want to talk. But find somebody you can trust, and sometimes you just need to get out of your head. You can journal, but sometimes just talk to an actual human being makes a very, very big difference.
Just to say, I'm just talking from my own personal experience. I remember when he wasn't working and I was doing everything, and he had all these dreams. You said you held your ex to what he was saying. And mine was he'd give me £350 a month, because that was what I was giving him as an allowance when I was the one looking after him while he was studying. And when the tables were turned, I wasn't met with the same thing. So, but he wanted me to be a housewife.
So, for example, she just spoke about him wanting her to be a housewife. Stuff like that being discussed before you enter marriage would be advice as well.
This was after the fact.
Oh.
It wasn't discussed. I was already a wife. I was already financing everything, and then
so he never said anything about it before. Wow.
Then it doesn't count.
again, name change. You know, I didn't carry his last name. It wasn't a struggle because he allowed it in that moment because he was trying to get what he needed to get out of the marriage. It was until after the fact he was like, so when are you going to change your name? But we'd already discussed this. So this is the thing.
So you had discussed that before?
Yeah, we kind of loosely discussed the idea. And he was just like, you're my wife. I love you. You know, it doesn't change anything. But as soon as I do and that paper happened, it was like 360. And then the isolation. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And he wanted me to be a housewife. It wasn't because he really wanted to take care of me. It was because he wanted to have power, you know, financial abuse. Because then I would be, you know,
depending on him.
Yeah, I'll be dependent on him. You know, so be mindful, but have these conversations. The truth is, what you want before going into any marriage is to be able to have a safe space to have this kind of dialogue. I mean, I even asked him, was he ever attracted to men? We're in a different time. Yes, I asked him.
What?
He went to boarding school.
Though.
Have you been molested?
Oh.
Okay.
Because I have been raped.
Oh.
I have been molested. And it's something I don't think I carried into my marriage in any way, but I felt like he needed to know this stuff. But the same way, men don't talk about their traumas like that. Some of them broke their virginities at 30, especially back in Nigeria, to housemates.
Yeah, or 8.
Like and they think it's a good thing, but it's not, because it's what their sexuality and how they view women. So these are some of the things that therapy would help unpacking, but sometimes with your partner as to why you do certain things, why you behave the way you behave. I mean, there's so much to unpack, but the first thing is knowing who you are, where you're coming from, to then be able to give that to that person.
Yeah. If you're not a full person, you can't give anything to anybody.
Wow.
So yeah, sexuality at this point, we're in a very different time.
Yeah.
I know of marriages where men and women were homosexual but got married because of societal standards.
I think that's still gonna happen. That's still gonna happen.
You can have those. No, not even if you can have those conversations.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be honest with you.
No, some people are. Look, there's polyamory. There's all sorts going on now. I'm not here to judge anybody. The best thing for any marriage is to start on a foundation of truth. There's some people that can handle it. There's some people that there's swingers out there and their marriages are 10, 20 years deep. Yeah. Because they've got an understanding. I'm not here to judge them. That's what rocks their boat. But don't pull people into marriage under deceit. It will hurt.
But there's a lot of girls that, because of the pressure to get married, they feel like they have to be this way. So they will lie. They will do things to get married. And then later on, all this stuff will come.
We're advising you not to do that. Yeah. And that's just
it
sad.
will show itself.
Yeah.
You can't mask forever. And the truth is, who wants to be in a relationship where they're not being themselves?
Yeah.
It's tiring.
That was what I was gonna say. That was gonna be my final advice. Like, marry someone that allows you to be yourself all the time. Like, you have to be yourself all the time. If you have to be a different person when they're there, that's not the person for you.
And have a social life. It's not wrong.
Have your own friends.
Yeah, it's healthy. You need it.
Have your own friends. Go out. I mean, in our marriage, we go out. So we have a rule in our family where each year we have a family holiday, but we also have individual holidays on our own. So he's going away in September for 10 days. I haven't got any money to go anywhere, so I can't go anywhere. But and people always say, "So what? Your husband let you go away?" Excuse me, let.
But that's a cultural thing.
No, this was a white woman asking me. I mean, what do you mean let? Yeah, I'm my way.
And again,
like,
I would
why
also
not?
talk about family planning. I mean, they wanted me to get pregnant within first.
Decide between yourselves how many children you would like before you get married.
That conversation happened, but when his mother wanted me to get...
Are you married to his mother?
No, this is what look, if you're Nigerian, depending on the kind of family your partner is coming from, these are things that could potentially happen. So you've got to, know that, has this person really ready to cut the umbilical cord? Because the Bible says the man will leave his family and cleave to his wife.
A lot of girls take on a lot of stuff that they're not happy with to secure the ring. Yeah, have the conversation. Have the difficult conversations about...
And don't start what you can't finish.
Yeah.
If you know you do not like to cook,
say it.
If you don't like to cook, don't pretend to be Hilda Bassi.
I didn't cook for my husband until we got married. I didn't cook for him.
I think the most I did was probably egg. That was before, but I mean, my engagement...
I can tell you what to do. Like, when I'd go to SA, I'd tell you what to get and how to do, but I'm like, I'm only going to cook for the man I'm married.
And to be fair, I was teachable because I didn't really cook Nigerian food. That was not my upbringing like that. He taught me, and I didn't mind being taught, to be honest.
I remember my ex-boyfriends then would be like, "Oh, you're gonna cook for me?" I'm like, "No." The one I did cook for, I said, "You're gonna have to pay me to cook for you," and he did. He paid for I took a weekday off because I was busy on the weekend doing nothing, but I was busy, and so he paid what my day rate would be for me to cook for him, and I told him to get everything.
Things up, so I know that
Final.
Be healthy. Don't just look good for your man.
Look good for yourself.
That's very
look good for yourself.
Very important.
Because the compliments might stop once you get married. That's from experience.
Yeah, make sure you've got your self-esteem intact as well. Because a lot of things will come to shake it completely.
Kids. Yeah. Stress.
Work. Finances.
Yeah. So take care of yourself.
And be each other's cheerleader, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So know that you're going to enter this marriage knowing that this person is your biggest supporter, champion.
I mean, yeah.
I'm on the other side of it. She's still in it, but from what I recall, to some degree, it was a beautiful thing. And I said to them earlier, I do miss being a wife. I love giving as much as I love to receive as well. And that's what it is. Marriage is give and take.
That's so beautiful. Wow. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I really, really hope that you have enjoyed AJ and AR's
whatever. That sounds
take
wrong.
on marriage. Yeah, doesn't sound great. But yeah, guys, this is the last episode of this season, so I hope that you've enjoyed. Make sure you leave comments below. Any questions you have for these two, they'd be happy to answer.
We'll wait for a fee, for a price.
Yeah. And I hope that you guys got some valuable tips as you enter your marriages. God bless. Good luck.
Good luck, oh, you need it.
Knowing, but not knowing, the empty, the open, the hoping, almost but not quite, stuck at the intersection, praying for the back then, to save you from the right now.